If you didn't know, Barbara is a character. Well, a pretty basic character. You get her for free pretty early into the game, and she is at best a below average healer. So she gets pretty phased out, even by mid-game. But today, that all changes. We're gonna find out just how big this girl from Monstadts can nuke. If you're new to the channel, hello. I'm on a quest to turn every character I have into nukes, so if you're interested in that, please subscribe to follow me. A lot of people who watch my videos aren't subscribed, and at 100k, I am burning my wallet and doing 3,000 rolls for your enjoyment. Anyway, enough yapping, let's get straight into it. So the first day was pretty simple. Our Barbara is pretty low fucking level, so we need to get to upgrading. Now, if you watched my previous video, you know I have some form of animosity towards grinding both Philonemo mushrooms and the Oceanid boss. Well, for Barbara, you might want to sit down for this. They share literally the exact same materials. You can see my live reaction to this. Oh my god, fuck! Now, for those who didn't watch my previous video, that's okay, because I'm gonna sum it all up. These mushrooms are piss annoying to get, and the Oceanid is a boss that takes a long time because of its stupid dialogue. So basically, I'm just gonna have to suck it up and deal with it. Luckily for mushrooms, I have a dream duo, Nahida and Micah. Micah basically just gives wall hacks to where the mushrooms are, and Nahida can grab the mushrooms from really far away, so those two really expedited the process. Another concern was going to be the other materials like the talent materials and the scrolls. Good thing is I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone by doing Archon quest. Now if you aren't seeing the vision yet, we are going to nuke with Barbara's charged attack. Knowing this, we can already decide what artifacts to use on her. There's a lot we can go with like Heart of Death, but what I am looking for is a 4-piece shim. Since we aren't using our burst as a priority, we don't need it. We can instead use the energy on her to buff both her normal and charged attack, so that will be our artifacts for today. Luckily for me, I already have a nice backlog of pretty decent shim artifacts from when I was building the Raiden team. Fun times. But anyway, what would seem like our most random variable coming into this video, which was artifacts, we can just skip for another day. By the end of day 1, most of the materials needed to ascend and upgrade Barbara to the appropriate levels were already gathered. I just needed a little bit more mushrooms, which I quickly got from other people's worlds. So because of diminishing returns, I decided to just keep our Barbara on the second last ascension and be happy with a level 8 talent for my normal attack. My Barbara now has a higher attack level than most of my 5 stars. What the fuck am I doing with my life, man? Anyway, now that we have the appropriate level, we can just start nuking, right? Well, technically yes, but we need to min-max this entire process so we get the maximum damage. We can do our experiments by using the Ice Flower as my test subject with no food. I can start mix-matching different character stats like EM and crit value on Barbara as well as different weapons. During the testing, I was coming across a lot of different damage numbers, like it was actually fucking confusing. I was doing the exact same thing but getting different numbers, so what was I doing? My main hypothesis was that we were using the Widsith, and has 3 different buffs. Now a man can only hypothesize, but I concluded that the elemental damage buff was the best one, and there's only a 33% chance of getting it. With enough testing, I concluded that some form of an EM stat on your Barbara is worth the trade-off for shittier crit value. So this was my final team and artifact setup that I came up with for Barbara. My Barbara is running a 4-piece shim with 60 EM and a crit ratio of 45 to 37. Pretty standard stuff for other characters. My Mona has 4-piece instructors to buff overall team EM. My Kaza has 4-piece Viridescent Venerer, and my Bennett has 4-piece Noblesse. So doing our testing using a bare bones setup, meaning no food or potions or external buffs, we were able to achieve a max damage of 108,000. Now that doesn't look too promising, but if we fight a boss that has a weakened state or we have food buffs, the difference will be pretty big. How big? Well, the external buffs we can get are actually pretty good. If we use a Hydro Potion, we can get a straight Hydro damage increase of 25% right off the bat. We can also increase our crit rate and attack using an Adeptus Tide food. This buff is pretty significant as our crit and base attack is pretty low on Barbara. You can see with a direct comparison of the non-buffed versus the buffed, you'll see that having no buffs actually does more damage. What the fuck? Let's try again. If you use a direct comparison of the non-buffed versus the buffed, you'll see there's a 30k difference between each. Not bad, right? But we're actually not done yet. Let's try it on a boss that has a weakened state, for example the Mechanical Array. During the weakened state of the Mechanical Array, I was able to get it increased to 160,000. Now we are actually getting somewhere. Let's keep upgrading. Let's do the Wanderer's boss, which has served me well over the past couple of videos. Keep in mind I had to do the level 70 boss and not the level 60, because when I tried with level 60, the boss died before I could even get anything. We were able to achieve 240,000, which is pretty good. If I had C2 Kazuha, this would have been so much more. So I decided to test how important Elemental Mastery was, so I decided to switch to Sucrose and see the difference. When I used Sucrose, I got a slightly higher value of 245k. So yeah, using Sucrose is actually not that bad in this context. Keep in mind that Kazuha does a lot more damage, so getting to the weakened state is a lot easier with Kazuha, if that makes any sense. So what can we conclude? Barbara does some fucking damage. Did more than my Xiangling, Albedo, and Zhongli, all of which are considerable sub DPSs. Is that because we have a vaporized reaction, which is a crutch in itself? That's up to you to decide. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe and like. If you didn't know, at 100k I'm doing 3,000 rolls, which is a lot of fucking money, and it could be on any banner. If it's Klee, she's getting C6 R5, I don't care. I'm also trying to reach 1k by the end of the year, so please help me out. Anyway, here's a video recommended by the algorithm on my channel. If you haven't seen my other stuff but enjoyed this one, my channel will be right up your alley. Anyway, see you guys.